Now, this is the place in the Łódź ghetto where Rumkowski made his speeches. He didn't make all that many speeches, but those he did make got a large crowd. And again, there wasn't much to do in the ghetto, and people did want to know what was going on. This building here behind me I have seen in pictures, and we have the twin spires of St. Mary Assumption Church as well in those pictures. Before he made a speech, there would be microphones set up for him and the loudspeakers for so people could hear what was going on, and his speeches were more or less the same sort of thing: how much he was doing to help people, and how hard he was working with the Germans, and how little they were working. They needed to work harder. However, on the 4th of September 1942 he made a speech, "Give me your children," starting, I wasn't good enough to have my own children, so I give the best years of my life to helping children, and concluding that people had to give up, those under 10 and those over 65, the best of what we possess, is the way he put it. We have to give the best of what we possess up in order to save the body. He saw it as a body giving up a leg or something like that, in order to keep the body alive. This is what the Nazis wanted. He said he was able to reduce the demands for those who were to be taken. This led to a wave of mass suicides. People, and there was what was called the large spare, the long spare, the gross spare. When people had to stay in the house, they couldn't even come out. All the factories were closed, and this just goes to show the Nazi mentality. It was these factories which were producing things using slave labour for the Nazi war effort, but it was more important to murder people. And okay, Battle of Stalingrad is just about to start, and the Americans and British are just about to invade North Africa, and yet the Nazis, rather than concentrating on winning the war, are more interested in killing. And that's something which we will see in more and more detail as the war goes on, as killing is more important than winning the war. So that's any Nazis and apologists, let's absolutely get that in perspective. The situation by September 42 was that the people knew that people were being murdered in Hermann and Neren, because that church there, St. Mary Assumption, had been used from the 4th of June 1942 as a store for property of those murdered in Hermann and Neren. Obviously people didn't just come from Łódź who were murdered there, they came from other places as well, but it must have been pretty obvious what was going on. And the church inside it, it's pretty big, so give the idea. I've been asked on various occasions when I think of Rumkowski, I can't give an answer to it. I mean, notwithstanding it must have been terrible trauma to make a speech such as that and to have to do what he did, but on the other hand he did molest females in his works for him, and the females had to allow themselves to be molested. If not clear, they were going on the next transport. That's been said by the victims. He saved the ghetto. Well, the ghetto was spared until 1944. It lasted a lot longer. Starvation in the ghetto was actually at a similar level to that in Warsaw, but with far more difficult circumstances. Here there was no underground passages. Smuggling was much harder than Warsaw, which had a ghetto wall which was kinky and didn't go in a straight line. So here it was much more difficult. I don't know, I'm going to have to think about Rumkowski much more before I come to a conclusion on it.